Hello YouTube, Librarian Larry here, with a brand new series called Toontown Odysseys. In this series, I will pick one part of Toontown and I will be going over its origin from a developer standpoint, as well as an in-game lore standpoint. Today I'll be talking about the enemies in Toontown, the Cogs. Before we can actually talk about the Cogs though, we must talk about the suits. Now the suits were originally in the game when they were creating the first playable version of Toontown, aka long before the game assembled anything it is like today. When they got to the part of the creative process where they needed to think of some enemies for the Toons to fight, they decided that they would make the enemies everything kids hated. So they made an evil school teacher, an evil dentist, etc. Eventually they decided that all the enemies would be businessmen, so the theme of the game can be work versus play. And the businessmen can make jokes that the adults playing with the children would get. Now when you hear of this, you immediately think of the Cogs, right? Well, before the Cogs were created, they were enemies known as the Suits. The Suits were simply normal human businessmen, and when they were defeated, they would turn into little clowns and run away. Roy Disney Jr. himself hated the Suits, since he said it disrespected the great businessman that made Disney into the multi-billion-dollar company it is today. He said that the Suits must be removed or else the project would be cancelled. So the Toontown team asked if they can make evil robots enemies instead, which the higher-ups agreed to. The team never mentioned that the robots would be business-themed, however, and they decided to take a chance. Luckily, the gamble paid off because everyone loved the Cogs, and they were greenlit to be in the final game. Now that they had the enemies in the game, they needed to create a battle system to fight them with. At first, they were going to go with a free action combat style, much like many other MMOs, but instead they decided they wanted a turn-based battle system. Jesse Schnell has stated the reason for the team choosing this type of battle system is because we thought it might have cross-gender appeal, that is. The boys would like the action while the girls would feel more comfortable with the fact that you can take your time to make a decision, compared to playing Doom, for example. After much thought, the team decided that the best way to handle battles would be that Toons would be able to pick the attack first and use different attacks against the Cogs. Toons would have to use the right gags, since certain gags would nullify the effects of other gags. They also decided that if you use a higher level gag when the Cogs level is lower than the gag level, you would get no experience, since it would be too easy to train higher gags. They also decided that they would want certain Cogs to invade the streets of Toontown at certain times, to give twice the amount of experience points to make gag training easier. Finally, one of the last but most important decisions the team made was that all battles on the street would be visible for the Toons to watch. That way, new and younger players can watch fights and learn strategies. Now let's talk about the Cogs Origins in-game. The origin of the Cogs were originally explained in the old Toontown download intro video. Scrooge McDuck was visiting his favorite employee, Gyro Gearloose. Upon entering his laboratory, he finds a giant robot with a warning sign saying not to touch. His first thought is that it could be a robot to help the citizens of Toontown that would make him lots of money, so he decided to activate it. Once activated, the giant robot starts creating smaller robots known as Cogs. Then the Cogs fly off to invade Toontown, and Scrooge gets kidnapped by the giant robot. After making their initial strike against Toontown, the Cogs divide themselves into 4 smaller sections to make their business more efficient. The Sellbots are in charge of selling products, the Cashbots are in charge of keeping track of all the money, the Lawbots are in charge of legal issues, and the Bossbots are in charge of organizing the company. Well, that's the origins of the Cogs in the original Toontown, but they have a different origin in TTR. In TTR, the Cogs were originally created by Dr. Surly to play with the Toons on the trolley. These robots were known as Trolleybots. Dr. Surly's invention went haywire, and the Cogs started having evil intentions. The Cogs made their first strike against the Toons during the Toon election. Ever since then, Toontown has been trying to fight off the hordes of evil robots. Now, that is all the story we have about them so far, but Joey has said that the story will be continued eventually, and that'll go much deeper into many aspects of Toontown. So it's going to be a while, but when we do get more storyline info, I will be sure to share it with you. So that is all for this video. Please tell me in the comments below what topic I should cover for my next Toontown Odysseys. Also, please subscribe for more Toontastic videos coming soon, and I will see you guys next time.